All right, welcome to the Prison Professors program. And today we are going to be focusing on our career development segment for people who are really justice impacted people who are either in jail or prison, or people who are transitioning into society. We're always striving to help those people understand how they can sow seeds today to begin building a career that will lead to higher income levels and personal development on their front. And I'm so enthusiastic to have a guest. His name is Dan Bowman. And Dan, why don't you tell us a little bit about the business that you run right now?
Thanks, Michael. Happy to be here. So I run a company. My company is called Hood Asset Recovery. Essentially what I do is we assist our clients with getting a boatload of money back, usually from their foreclosure sales. So when somebody loses their house and it gets foreclosed on, it typically sells at what's called a sheriff's sale or a standard auction. And if it sells for more money than what's owed the bank, then that creates basically extra money. It's an overage or an excess fund. It's not an unclaimed fund, so what we have to do is we usually go into the courts. We utilize some attorneys. We can talk about that later, but basically, we petition the courts to release those funds to my clients. And then I take a percentage, 20, 30, 40%, sometimes 50%. It just depends on the case. It's kind of a win-win-win. The court gets to get that money off their books. I get paid and they get paid. So, yeah, it's kind of a sweet deal.
So the reason that I wanted to present this information to our audience is our audience is justice impacted. And that means many times they're going to find real challenges in getting jobs where they could earn a sustainable living. I would like to hear from you if this is the type of, if they develop a skill set in this area, do you anticipate that they would be able to earn a living? And if so, how long do you anticipate it would take for them to come up to speed?
Absolutely. Well, to answer the last question first, I don't think it would take very long at all. This is not the type of strategy that takes a tremendous amount of time to learn. Now, obviously, there's going to be details. Every case is slightly different, but as far as the main knowledge goes, it won't take you too terribly long, especially when you have a mentor who can help work with you. But yes, this is definitely the type of career where you could do this full time and make a decent living at. Even my first year doing this, my very first year, I had no previous experience. I had never done this before. I made well into the six figures my very first year doing it. So yeah, this is definitely something they can do for a full-time job.
And one of the reasons it's so important for us to present this information is we have to give justice impacted people hope. We, as prison professors, one of our goals is to let people understand if they invest in themselves, they can put themselves in a better position to succeed either when they come home, or they can put themselves in a better position if they're already home, if they just reach out and find mentors, people they didn't know but are willing to help them along the way. And maybe it would be helpful, just because I always say I never ask anybody to do anything that I didn't do. And why don't you tell the audience how it is you and I are speaking today? I was in prison for 26 years, and now I'm talking to a guy who builds businesses that generates well into the six figures in income. How did that happen? Could you tell us that?
Yeah, well, honestly, I was kind of researching different areas and groups that might benefit from a program like this. I wasn't really sure where to start, in all fairness, and I started Googling and YouTubing, and I thought to myself, in all fairness, the group that could benefit from something like this would be current or former inmates, because it's so difficult. So I've heard it's so difficult to actually get a career or land a good job, especially upon exiting the prison system. And I thought, well, in a position like this, you're literally creating your own business. So you're not having to deal with background checks. You're not having to deal with a break in resume, right? You know, for however many years or however many months. You're just doing this on your own. Laptop and cell phone is literally all you need to get this done. So I thought this would be something that could benefit them. So I started Googling it, researching it, and I actually found you on YouTube was the first spot I saw you. I went to your website, Prison Professors, and then I actually found you on LinkedIn and figured I'd message you and say, hey, is this something we can do, or what do you think?
So there's a really valuable takeaway there in what you just described. And the reason I asked you to share that story is because I want people in jail, in prison, or people who are on supervised release to understand the importance of personal marketing. I didn't know Dan before he reached out to me, but when he reached out to me, I immediately saw this is great information that would help hundreds of thousands of people who sometimes struggle to get their life on track. And I have no doubt that through this segment of interviews that we're going to do, and we're going to try and keep them in the 15-minute range, we're going to tell the story of how Dan built his business, and there will be takeaways there that somebody can learn. I may not be able to go through Dan's course today, but I could certainly begin working on developing these fundamental skills that accelerate my prospects for success regardless of what I do. And what are those that we always teach in Prison Professors? We recommend people to focus on developing strong verbal communication skills, strong writing skills, strong critical thinking skills, and an insane self-directed work ethic. You've got to be self-directed to succeed. If you don't get up in the morning and if you don't work hard, what time is it right now where you are, Dan?
It's 7 a.m.
And it's 6 a.m. here in California. I never ask anybody to do anything I didn't do. I've already been working at my desk for 2 hours because I'm always investing in myself. And I want you to be investing in yourself because that's what we as formerly incarcerated people have to do. We always have to work harder than somebody else to overcome the obstacles that surround us if we've been in prison or if we've gone through the justice system. But see, we also have to be investing in ourselves and get people to notice us. Dan noticed me, and he reached out to me on LinkedIn, and then I looked at that as an opportunity that I could use to further my goal of making a bigger impact on the world. Reached out to him. He agreed to volunteer his time to share it with us, and it's my hope that you will learn how you can start launching a new career if this is something that you would like to do. He said it was easy, but the harder you work earlier, I think the faster you get to making it a successful venture. So is that an accurate summary of how you and I connected?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I ask that because I want you, if you're a participant in this course, if you're watching this, if you've just gotten out of jail or prison and you're on supervised release, I want you to be thinking, what seeds can you start sowing today that will bring mentors into your life? And what can you do as an individual to then seize the initiative and convert those mentors into real resources that you can use to accelerate your life? Because there's a lot of people that will invest in you, but you've got to be willing to invest in yourself first. So Dan, now let's get into how you got involved in this business. You said that you started and in your first year, you were able to excel at a pretty high income level. What's your background?
Well, I could tell you my background had nothing to do with real estate or courts or anything like that. I can tell you that right now. But I actually worked for many years. I worked doing security, just talking basic turnkey security. And then for the last, before I started doing this, last 4 years, I had worked at a mattress manufacturing company. I kind of rose through the ranks. I started really low, rose through the ranks and ultimately was their sustainability manager, which is basically a really nice way of saying I handled all their recycling and waste programs and some different organization and project management type things. So it literally, so now you can tell I literally had nothing to do with the real estate industry at all. But when I got laid off from that job, and again, I had been there for about 4 years, I really did not anticipate a layoff. It was one of those things where I thought I would be there probably for at least another 10 years. So it was a bit of a shock. It was super shocking to me when it happened and to a lot of my coworkers. And I kind of reached this point where I said, I really just don't want to work for other people anymore. I want to work for myself. I'm never going to fire myself, right? I'm always going to have a job as long as I'm in charge of that position. And so I started kind of researching what can I do? And I literally it's a bit of a long story, but I literally just stumbled on this strategy, and I thought that, this is something I think this is something I can do. I'm not a salesman. I tell people this in my YouTube videos all the time. I'm not a salesman, but that's what makes this job so easy is I'm literally just selling people on free money. I mean, it's the easiest product in the world to convince somebody of.
So a couple of takeaways there that I want to get some clarifying questions if I can. Step one, what is your educational background?
So I do have a degree, a bachelor's degree, but it's in sociology.
Okay.
So
back up there. What kind of student were you in high school?
I was a pretty good student. I was National Honor Society, which just means I was A's and B's. I was never straight A's, but I was A's and B's.
Very helpful. Number one, and there's gonna be a reason I'm asking these questions. Number two, you became got a degree in sociology, and then you transitioned out of college. And it's my understanding you said you went to work as a security guard. That's one of the guys like drives around the mall and has his uniform on. Okay, so you take that role for a couple of years. Number three, then you go to a mattress company, and you said you started at an entry-level position. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
And I would assume an entry-level position is earning an entry-level wage, but you did so with an attitude that says, I'm going to work really hard, and you accelerated and became eventually a manager. Is that right?
Right. Exactly.
So a lot of takeaways there for people in jail or prison. And as number one, what really I get out of this, and I want you to correct me on this before we go to the next segment, what I hear from that is this is a guy that invested in himself from a young age. He got A's and B's in high school, and he made a commitment to further his education and go to college, likely incurring some debt in going to college, certainly making a critical thinking decision. Do I go to college or do I go into the workforce? And he chose to go to college, whereas that means he went through an expense, meaning he's paying money to go to college. And in addition to that, he lost income opportunities because he's in college. So if he's in college, that means he's not working. You can't do both, right? Or you can't do both at the same level. So that was a critical thinking decision. Second, even with a college degree, the job he took was an entry-level position, and that was both times, but he never stopped investing in himself. And I would guess that personal development, that commitment to personal development, accelerated the possibility for him to succeed at a high level once he became an entrepreneur. And first of all, I'm going to ask, is that an accurate summary of what you just told us?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So the takeaway for somebody in jail or prison is to say, in what ways are you like Dan Bowman? In what ways are you investing to develop your communication skills, to develop your work ethic, so that when the opportunity comes, you can seize the initiative and really crush it? Because the reality is that I experience is somebody coming out of jail or prison is going to have far more difficult challenges than a guy like Dan Bowman had, a guy with a college degree. And he went to work in an entry-level job and then then a mattress factory. Okay, he didn't go and become the leader at some big corporation to start. He started at the bottom and he worked his way up. Are you willing to do that? Because if you are, nothing is stopping you today from developing the right mindset to succeed. That's what we heard from Dan Bowman. And if I'm accurate, we're going to go into the next segment and kind of talk a little bit about the nitty-gritty of this course that could teach you how to earn a phenomenal living just by your own work ethic, your own knowledge, your own intellectual property, and learning how to work the system so that you can make money. Can you help us get there, Dan, in the next segment?
I sure can, yep.
Okay, that's awesome. I hope that you're enjoying these programs on career development and why you should begin sowing seeds today for the success you want to build tomorrow. I'm Michael with Prison Professors here with Dan Bowman. And what is the name of your company, Dan, that people could reach you at?
So Overage Mastery is the name of the course. So if you want to reach out to me, overagemastery1 just at gmail.com. That's probably the best way. Find me on Facebook, YouTube. You can get a hold of me through either of those.
And I will put that name in the show notes that goes with the lesson plan of this course. But just so I spell it correctly, is it OVERAGEMASTERY .com?
Yeah, right. Well, and so
why don't you spell it out just so I get it right?
Yeah, well, no, you spelled it perfectly. So the actual website is going to be different for them. So what I'd prefer is that you can find me on YouTube through simply Overage Mastery, or Facebook, or even Instagram. But then when you reach out to me, do reach out to me through the Gmail, which is just overageMastery1@gmail. Because for you guys, I'm going to send a specific link that other people won't have access to. So we'll stick with that.
And that's a real supporter of the Prison Professors program. We're super grateful to Dan for sharing this information with us. We're all striving to help justice-impacted people reach a higher potential. It's one of the ways we can be the change we want to see in the world, but we can't do it without a commitment from you. So start sowing seeds today for your successful reentry into society. Thanks so much.
Thanks.